Health Minister rejects rumor of coronavirus cases in the Gambia. The Locust invasion in East Africa may lead to food shortage in the region. Coming on the world today. Hello, you're watching iAfrica TV. Of course, it is 17 or 18 GMT here in our studios in Banjul. And of course, you're watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. A man whose companion died as a result of guns shot by junglers of former president presented his wounds of blood as he testified before the TRRC. The bar attendant and a taxi driver considered himself unlucky in the hands of the former hit squad, for he was never guilty of any crime. His testimony depicts the extrajudicial powers possessed by loyalists of exiled former president, especially those in authority. Aissatou Tamba has more in this report.
A 45-year-old Musa Shala exposed the ruthlessness of the military hit squad under the leadership of the former president Yahya Jammeh. During a testimony before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission (TRRC) on Monday, Salah, who is also known as Gori, recalled being shot on board a motorbike by the junglers while on his way from Casamas. He said he later came to know that the man who gave him lift on the motorbike might have been targeted for possession of drugs. Mr. Salah explained that the rider got into a ditch, as a result of which they fell off following the firing by the junglers, leading to the death of his companion on the journey from Casamas.
So you dano.
And we fell.
So when
we fell,
mabarangu.
I rolled over and I leaned on a tree. He also rolled over and he came and lay on top of my leg. He said to me, I am dying. I said to him, I too am dying. I said to him, today is Friday. Let us pray to God. And we started reciting verses. That was when I saw him die. That was where I also fainted. I didn't realize anything.
After the incident, he said he heard some footsteps, after which he called for help. He soon realized the presence of two men in military uniform who, upon conducting search on him, decided to bring him home.
These people?
Yes, one died, one is surviving.
He asked them if they saw them, and they said yes, one died and one survived. He said to them, search them. They searched me and they removed my ID card.
This is a Gambian, they are Gambian.
And he said to him, sir, this is a Gambian.
Whatever.
They are Gambian.
Whatever.
And he said to them, whatever.
And properly.
What?
Witnesses continued to appear before the Truth-Seeking Commission as hearing resumes today. Next to Tunisia, where Tunisian oil farmers and producers are unable to sell their products in local markets due to a drastic drop in price at global markets. Farmers complain that they are being forgotten by the Ministry of Agriculture, blaming the Ministry of Trade for the deadlock. Let's have more details of that in this report.
National production has nearly tripled for the season, which started last November. However, Tunisian farmers and olive oil producers are angry. They are unable to sell their production at a reasonable price.
The prices of olive oil in the local market have dropped to unprecedented levels. The state has helped and given incentives to local exporters and European importers who do not produce anything, while farmers have been forgotten by the Ministry of Agriculture.
Farmers in Inner Region, the Ministry of Trade, for the current deadlock. Producers say they offer high-quality product on bulk, in drums or in bottles, but export has slowed down.
The cost of 1 litre of olive oil is even higher in the center and west of Tunisia because rain is rare and the water is expensive. We did our job with a record harvest and excellent quality, but unfortunately, decision makers did not assume the responsibility by finding new markets to export our production.
The Export Promotion Center is the state agency in charge of prospecting new markets and international customers for Tunisian organic and extra virgin olive oil.
Tunisia is the largest exporter of organic olive oil in the world and aims to remain in this position. The state understands the concerns of producers and worries about the price fallout, but exports will peak again. We will back any initiative to protect and save this vital sector.
The Minister of Agriculture estimated that olive oil producer prices remain dependent on the international market, currently dominated by Spain. He noted that the prices of extra virgin olive oil in this European country have fallen by 33% in 2020 compared to the last 5 years.
From the report there in Tunisia, next we come back home and talk matters of the COVID-19, because the Minister of Health and Social Welfare on Sunday told journalists that the deadly coronavirus is yet to get in despite rumor of its emergence in the country. Dr. Ahmad Samate, Minister for Health, said his ministry is on high alert in case of any breakthrough, noting that all suspected people of the COVID-19 have all tested negative. Let's have more details of that in this report. Minister for Health and Social Welfare Dr. Amadou Samate has dispelled rumors of emergent causes of the COVID-19 in the Gambia. Speaking to the press on Sunday, the minister said there is no confirmed case of the deadly disease despite the screen of more than 300 people who were suspected of coronavirus. Confirmation of 20 cases of the pandemic in neighboring Senegal generated tension among Gambians, especially through social media discussions. However, health facilities have subjected more than 100 of people to surveillance and medical checkup, but no symptom of COVID-19 was found. But Dr. Samate said there is high risk of the disease in the country, a reason for which the Ministry of Health is putting in place response mechanism to contain any outbreak.
The Ministry of Health has learned a lot from our previous plans for the Ebola virus prevention strategies. Many of the structures are already in place and needed to be activated. The many improvements in our health facilities over the few years have also enhanced our preparedness to respond to the outbreak. The Gambia government, through the Ministry of Health, has been planning an initial response based on information available at the time, in a context of uncertainty that can be scaled up or down in response to new information to ensure a flexible and proportionate response.
He explained some of the public awareness efforts on the symptoms and precautionary measures of the disease adopted by the health sector.
The Ministry of Health is constantly having information about arrival of visitors from the affected areas. This has enabled a more strengthened surveillance at all our points of entry. The Ministry has organized the training of various officers, including public health, clinical health, immigration, food safety and quality authority, phytosanitary, fire and rescue services, and the Gambia Revenue Authority on infection prevention and control and proper use of personal protective equipment.
As the corona disease continues to spread around the world, countries are also busy putting in place stringent measures to combat the deadly disease. The virus has claimed over 6,000 lives and infected more than 10,000 people globally. Reporting for Africa News, I am Amadou Kante. From that report on, of course, the coronavirus update in the Gambia, next we head to Nigeria, where Nigeria's commercial capital and most populous city, Lagos, has been hit by a huge explosion that claims more than a dozen on Sunday. It is suggested that the blast is responsible for deaths of about 15, with more than 50 buildings destroyed as the fire spread on a nearby oil pipelines. Footage saw the size of the blaze after the blast, with thick black smoke continuously rising to the sky. Though oil pipeline explosions happen frequently in Lagos, this explosion was much larger than those in the past. Officials are yet to definitely identify the cause of the disaster. Lagos is the most populous city in sub-Saharan Africa, serving as a home of 21 million people. And from that unfortunate development in Nigeria, again, we come back home because Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of the Gambia, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, has launched the coronavirus awareness campaign with a view to prevent cases of the pandemic in the country. Fatoumata Barrow, together with stakeholders in the health sector, earlier today visited few schools within the Greater Banjul areas to communicate the importance of preventive measures against the COVID-19. She emphasized on the need of hand washing with soap at all times, covering mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing. The latest move by the Office of the First Lady is done in partnership with WHO, UNICEF, UNDP, Ministry of Health, and that of Basic Education to propel the level of preparedness. And of course, with that development, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining update story. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching The World Today on iAfrica TV, and now to the rest of the stories. Now, the Gambia Armed Forces says it will host a pulling out ceremony of the outgoing Chief of Defense Staff at the Defense Headquarters on Tuesday. Dismissal of Lieutenant General Masane N. Kinte on the 5th of March was announced by the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces last Wednesday. As Kinte is being deployed to the diplomatic service, Deputy Chief of Defense Staff Major General Yakuba Edrame is named as a new leader of the military. Army spokesperson described the ceremony to be held tomorrow as a military tradition that symbolizes a formal transfer of command, control and responsibility of the armed forces. Lieutenant General Kinte is expected to formally hand over the army to General Drame, who got appointed as CDS about 2 weeks ago. Now, from that development from the army, next we head to East Africa, because the East Africa region is battling its worst locust invasion in decades, with Kenya as one of the hardest hit in recent days. To complicate the disaster, these crop destructive pests are already hatching eggs, bringing the Horn of Africa to another fear of food crisis. Let's have more of that in this report.
East Africa has witnessed the worst desert locust outbreak in decades. Kenya in particular is staring at a food crisis due to a renewed invasion by the destructive pests. Mature swarms are laying eggs across the country, many of which are already hatching. Volunteers from the National Youth Service have teamed up with county governments to combat the locusts.
I have to brief them on how to use the chemical. You have to keep on reminding the use of the chemical, the balance of the chemical and mixing ratio. You have to remind them on how to use the protective gear, because if you don't use the protective gear, it might be harmful to you. If you do wrong, any slight wrong mistake, it can bring back an bad effect on your body and your health.
One such volunteer is Derek Mwangi, who joined the National Youth Service last year. This will be his 5th time participating in the Locust control program.
I love doing this because it's helping my community. The challenge here, it's only the temperature. The temperatures here are too high.
With the next generation of locusts projected to hatch in a few weeks, the impact of the infestation could be devastating. The locusts have devoured huge amounts of pasture, posing a threat to the food security of livestock and local communities.
If they're not taken rid of, it will affect the pasture. Most of them are pastoralists, and we had many communities, different communities within the area. And the most problem that it might cause, because of conflict of the scarce pasture caused by the locust, it might cause, that is, tribal conflicts.
According to the Kenyan government, the locusts have invaded 26 counties. The government says it has trained 500 NYS officers to help combat the pests. But despite all these efforts, farmers are worried that the newly hatched hoppers will reverse the gains in the fight against the invasion so far.
From that report on the locust invasion in East Africa, and of course in Kenya to be precise, finally we end this news bulletin with sport-related matters, because the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has for the first time postponed all sporting activities on the continent since the World Health Organization announced coronavirus outbreak as pandemic. The decision shows the indefinite suspension of the Cameroon 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Both the African women qualification and that of the women under 20 qualification are equally suspended. For more details of that, we go with this report.
After the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 as a pandemic, CAF has for the first time postponed continental events. The Cameroon 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, 2020 Women's AFCON qualification and
influential teams in African football. It was wise from CAF to postpone.
CAF remains unclear about the duration of the delay for the events. That is triggering concerns about the possible impact on the men's AFCON, which has been brought early to January 2021 instead of summer.
As long as it is in a couple of matches, I don't think it will have a big impact on the AFCON 2021. Yes, the competition will be held in the winter and the schedule is tight, but 2 matches shouldn't be a great deal. They can easily switch them with the schedule of matches set for World Cup qualifications as a contingency.
On the club's level, no competition has been so far affected. CAF is having a medical team in Cameroon to overlook the preventive measures taken for COVID-19. So far, the African Nations Championship will be held there on time in April. The semi-finals of the CAF Champions League and the Confederation Cup, set for May, have not yet been affected.
This sudden change of football schedule will definitely create several challenges. More may emerge if the postponement goes beyond Day 3 and Day 4 matches of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifications. But it appears that CAF and FIFA are coordinating to keep the world of football safe and to provide whatever facilitations required to fix the ripples of these decisions.
From the report on coronavirus and sports, and of course we hope the world will anytime soon, of course, bring this coronavirus under control. And with that, we bring this news bulletin to an end. But of course, for more on this and other stories, you can also log on our website on africa.tv. Many thanks as always for the pleasure of your company. Thank you very much. I am Amadou Kante, and bye for now.